Thank you. Unusual to be the headline act at the end of the day between drinks, but I'll make sure I give you some good information from today and then you can enjoy some drinks. Hopefully some of them you'll enjoy them with Strike. Just the normal disclaimer. I think interesting on Andrew's presentation, I think we have a WA slant on what Andrew talked about with the gas around Alice Springs. I think the key, with Strike, and I'm only 3 months into the role here, and I'm really excited about the opportunities we have in front of us. I was really attracted to the great assets that we have, and we'll run through those shortly and explain how we've really refocused the company to ensure that we deliver against the 4 key priorities that we've identified through the strategic review that was released a few months ago. As Andrew had talked about, WA has a similar challenge, and I think really more recently recognised by the government and through the AEMO reports that were released just in the last 6 weeks or so. Clearly, we have a gas challenge coming and we have a peaking power challenge coming as well. The renewables have been a big focus for the government and a number of other proponents building a lot of renewables, particularly wind and solar, and then the batteries being built by the government. They all need firming power, and we talked about the peaking power that will enable that to function effectively into the future, and Strike is really well placed to do that, and we've got a project that's well progressed that will ultimately be the first fully integrated gas to power generation in the state. We've got a number of assets and over quite a large north-south strike. We start down just 150 kilometres north of Perth with our Walyering deposit, which is currently producing gas about 20 TJs a day, right up to the north with our joint venture with Hancock at West Erregulla, and then in between that our gas power plant and the newly announced South Ocean Hill area, which we'll go into in a bit more detail. We're really well aligned with our assets. We sit right in the Swiss. We're close to the power connections. We sit between the two pipelines to the south, and then the north we're relatively adjacent to the Dampier pipeline as well. Gas is clearly a critical part of WA's future, and as we understand more, it's clearly going to be a long-term part of the future for the West Australian energy and industrial customer base. As we have the high-quality assets, as I mentioned, and we'll go into those in a bit more detail. Interestingly, before my time, we had the small plant down at Walyering was the first gas facility in Australia that's 100% powered by renewables, being solar and then battery backup. More recently, and it was alluded to in the introduction, Carnarvon has made a strategic investment in our business to the tune of what will be $89 million, which now enables us to go and execute the projects that we've had sitting in the business over the last number of months. We've also recently, with my appointment and a new CFO, made a number of management changes in the business, and I think as we move from explorer to producer, it's a different skill set, and we're enabled that with the appointments that we've made. The 4 key assets in our portfolio, and we're very clear in our business, these are the ones that we'll focus on into the future. The West Erregulla and Erregulla Deep assets that we are 50% owner of but operator with Hancock. The South Erregulla project, where we're building our first peaking plant, which is 100% Strike. Walyering, where we're producing in the southern part near Cataby 20 TJs a day. And the exploration assets that we've got at both Ocean Hill and then further down the track, we'll be looking at Catathini. And over the last year or so, we ran 3D across all of Ocean Hill, and we recently made an announcement of a significant upgrade of the resources that we've got, prospective resources that we've got in that area that we'll look to drill next year. If I run through the assets, you'll see on the right-hand side there is the new peaking power plant that's being built. It's progressing extremely well, looking to be online middle next year and potentially out to about October. This will be, as I said earlier, the first fully integrated gas to power infrastructure in the state. It enables us to drive superior economics, but also be a key part of supporting the government's transition away from coal as an underpin to the energy market in the West, to enable renewables to be effectively utilised in the state as well. The unit here is an 85 megawatt peaking plant that is 15 kilometres from the Swiss, which we'll connect into, and we have our gas immediately at site, a couple of hundred metres away from the power plant, and we own this farm here, which we call the Precinct, which is a 3,500 hectare property right in the middle of the wind zone up near inland from Dongara. As you'll see here, construction's well progressed of the shed. The mufflers are going in for the Jenbacher units. There'll be 20 generators in there. And the first engines arrive from Europe during this month and will start to be installed during October, with all 20 in later in the year. West Erregulla, which is the key asset in our business. It's a large resource which really gives us exposure to a number of opportunities and how we can develop this asset with our partner. We're progressing towards FID at the back end of next year. We have early orders underway now for pre-FID activities, including the drilling of an additional well and 2 workovers that will be done in the first half of next year, enabling us to take FID in the second half. We've also got opportunities to extend that asset further with the Erregulla Deep discovery, and we've also just recently run the Natta 3D seismic across the whole resource that we've got there, and that's now being independently audited, and we expect to have that feedback, as we previously said in investor presentations, in December of this year. The size of this asset gives us a number of options for development. Clearly a dedicated gas facility would be one, either with our partner or other options there. Expansion of our gas, so running gas across to our property and developing another power plant, or some hybrid or a combination of those two options. So a really exceptional asset that we have in the northern part of the Perth Basin, well proven and ready to be developed. Walyering, I mentioned earlier, is our producing asset in the southern part of the Perth Basin, down near Cataby. It's been producing now for 18 months and has generated revenues of $118 million since startup at a very strong return, with average production cost of around 60 cents a gigajoule. The recent reserves update that we released showed that we've had suboptimal performance from one of the wells that we drilled recently, Walyering 7, and that the field has been declining faster than we'd initially expected. So we'd already started to do a couple of things to address that. One was procuring compression, which will be online later this year and will extend the life of the asset. But importantly, having 3D seismic across the site, we've also identified an additional location to drill the Walyering 5 well, near the Walyering 5 well, 3 kilometres away, which we've named Walyering West. And that looks like a really prospective area, close enough to quickly link into the plant down there, which has capacity of up to 33 TJs a day, while we're currently producing at 20 TJs a day. And Ocean Hill, which we made an announcement last week, which is our key exploration area in front of us right now. We've run 3D seismic across that and just recently got the risk advisory processing back, which identified or confirmed a 2C contingent resource of 180 PJs, and then a really significant additional 2U prospective resources, both at Ocean Hill and the larger Ocean Hill South structure. So at Ocean Hill, another 190 PJs, and at Ocean Hill South, 680 PJs. So a really significant opportunity for us to drill into next year, and we have that in our plans to do a well in the second half of next year subject to finalising the power plant and a couple of other things to ensure that we're sufficiently funded to do that. Ocean Hill's really attractive. We expect it'll be similar gas to Walyering, very limited processing, drop the liquids out and we can put that into the pipeline with some compression. And also it's close to the high voltage infrastructure should we choose to do power in that area as well. So there's a number of options for us down around Ocean Hill, which we're really excited to pursue into the back end of next year. So our near-term focus, as I said, is make sure that we stick to what we said we would. So mitigate the gas shortfall at Walyering and maintain the stable cash flow generation, deliver the 85 megawatt peaking plant at South Erregulla by October 1st latest, but ideally earlier, advance the West Erregulla development and then accelerate the exploration progress at Ocean Hill and Catathini while managing the capital and risk in the business. We're really well positioned to support West Australia's energy transition and in parallel deliver value to our shareholders. We own and operate a portfolio of very high quality assets centrally located to support the WA energy transition. Strike's value is optimised as a vertically integrated business, both producing gas and power where it makes sense, and also delivering critical infrastructure to support the transition in WA. So investment highlights, as the newest domestic gas producer, and that's the first in 10 years or so with Walyering, Strike's already generating revenue, implementing our integrated gas to power strategy, which will enable us to unlock higher margin opportunities. So we really, the reasons to invest in our business and to, I guess, in the end, drive up the share price, which is particularly poor at the moment, and we've got work to do that. We've got to deliver on our strategy and prove that we can do that. We've got really strong asset base, high quality assets. We're generating very high cash flows on a very low cost base. We've got a number of pathways to market for both the gas and into power. We're a proven developer with Walyering. We're a major resource holder, as I showed on the tenements that we hold, and we've got our core projects now funded with the placement from Carnarvon. Thank you.